Hey YouTube, it's your girl Dr. J, and I'm back with what I think is my final video of the day. So I wanted to talk about this book. It is called I'm Not Just Gifted, Social Emotional Curriculum for Guiding Gifted Children. And I really like this book. I wanted to get something because I remembered back when I was in school, and I really enjoyed kind of the health classes where we talked a lot about self-awareness and just going through our growth and emotions and that sort of stuff. And I wanted to find something where I could integrate that into our homeschooling as well. And all of my kids are on the gifted continuum. They're all in the highly to profoundly gifted category, and so they're all in the 99th percentile, with one being in the 99.9th percentile. And so we kind of have the big bang cluster of giftedness, in that pretty much every stereotype with emotional intensity and everything else that goes along with it, we tend to have exploding in our house at one time or another on a consistent basis. And so I was really excited when I found this book. I do not have a clinical background, and so I wanted to have this book. I really wanted to make sure that this was something that made sense, and it was something that I could do with no problem. And so one of my good friends is who's also a homeschooler. She's also a trained behavioral therapist and still takes clients. So I asked her to look over the book for me, and she gave it 2 thumbs up. She said it was absolutely fabulous. And so I'm really excited to use it, and we'll be using it with my kids, and we'll be getting together with my friend and some other people who also have gifted kids, and we're all kind of navigating this world. We'll be doing some of these projects together. And I'm finding that as my kids get older, and we're officially done with lower elementary. So I have 2 in upper elementary and 1 in middle school now. And as they're maturing, going into those pre-adolescent, those tween years, I'm finding out that, okay, now I'm starting to see those emotions and questions and ideas kind of start to manifest. And I want to make sure that we tackle things with understanding who you are and all the facets of yourself. I want to make sure that we really tackle those things early, and give them voice that they need, give them the words that they may need, and really have as much opportunity in understanding the whole package of who they are as possible. And for us, giftedness is kind of like dyslexia. It's just a part of who you are. You don't outgrow it. It's not something that you are ashamed of, you try to bury. You understand what that means for you and for your life. And so this book I'm really excited about. I'll read you guys some of the chapters. So the first section is an overview and essential understanding. So it's understanding the social and emotional lives of gifted children. And it also explains why would you use effective curriculum, which is what this is. And then evidence-based design and lesson overview, letting you know that these lessons are designed based on evidence and research, as opposed to just, oh, this seems fun. And then the second section is social emotional curriculum for guiding gifted students. Unit 1 is So I'm Gifted. What does that mean? Unit 2 is Don't Forget About Emotional Intelligence. Unit 3 is Daily Habits for Successful Living. Unit 4 is The Art of Bouncing Back. That's a big one. And Unit 5 is Cultivating Your Talents and Passions. So that's how the units are broken down. And for the lesson plans, basically what you have is it gives you the lesson number, and then the lesson is titled, like this one is titled Great Expectations. You have the objective, guiding questions for the students, guiding principles, what materials you need, introduction, what the activity is, discussion, and then a kind of an assessment. And they're not rubric-based assessments, so I'll give you a feel for some of the things that's covered. In Great Expectations, the objective, it says, by the end of the lesson, students will be able to understand the expectations they place on themselves, understand the expectations placed on them by others, and manage their emotions and maintain balance. And so for the activity, it's here, and you just would need to print the pages and give it to your child. And it says, what are the expectations my friends and family have for me? What are expectations my school and teachers have for me? And as a homeschooler, it would still be, your school expectations, and then expectations I have for myself. So they would write those down. And then the next thing they do is they take 3 to 5 of those expectations and then rewrite them, making sure they're realistic. And I think that's great, because a lot of times gifted children, because they're gifted and they've heard people say all these wonderful things about them, or what sometimes parents and educators perceive are wonderful things about them, and then they have this burden that they think they have to carry, where they think they have to be perfect, they think they have to get everything right, they think they have to know everything. And so this is good to kind of get that out on the surface and let them be able to express what they feel is being placed on them and how they feel about it. So, and then helping them rewrite the story so that the expectations can be realistic. Another lesson is the story of my life, and the objective is to understand the full definition of giftedness and how it specifically applies to them, be able to analyze the pros and cons of giftedness traits, and identify specific needs that they have. And so those are some of the things. They have one on fear. And so you have a discussion about, like, the discussion for the fear lesson is discuss how fear can be both a benefit and a drawback. Discuss common fear triggers and how fear manifests in gifted individuals. And then it gives you questions that you can ask. And for this one, the handout, it talks about, am I afraid? And then what you do is you figure out what's your fear trigger, what are your fear symptoms, and what are some calming strategies that you can utilize. And I think this is great because it's developmentally appropriate in that it is taking the child from having their emotional needs and their calming needs and their basic life needs, having that come out of the hands of the parent and be placed more into the hands of the child. And so now this is designed for kids in grades 4 through 7. And so it's really appropriate that that's the time to transition, where it's not about mommy and daddy making your world safe and good, your emotional world safe and good, but now it's time for them to learn those coping strategies that they will need throughout life as well. Another one that's real big that I thought was perfect is this one is called Cheer Squad, and it explains, the objective is explain the importance of building connections with others and identify personal support teams. How wonderful is that? And so the handout that you do, it says make a list of people in your life who support you and who you feel safe with. And so there's family members, friends, and other people I trust and feel safe with. And then it has, who's a part of your cheer squad. So you fill out that handout so you can always be reminding yourself of who are the people that you have in your corner. And that's so good as you're growing up and you're doing different things and you're taking chances and you're going out there and, who's going to have your back and who does have your back. And sometimes if we aren't reminded of who actually has our back, we can get so hurt. And we go through that as adults. Sometimes I have to go, okay, does this person really have my back, or was this all just a ruse? And you have to go and you have to sometimes rearrange that cheer squad because, there may have been some people on it where you thought they were a cheerleader and they weren't, so, and that's a life lesson for kids to be able to learn as well. Another thing that I really like is the qualities. It says my character and qualities inventory. And again, the objective is to identify career areas best suited to their self-identified characteristic traits. Identify 3 to 5 careers within each character trait, and then choose some of those potential careers. And I really like this because a lot of times, kids, they may say, well, I want to do this. And a lot of times, yeah, that's what you see, but there can be a lot of subfields within that. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. And this is something that I want to do and circle back with and all that other kind of stuff, because it has really great things. Like this is the thinking brain. It says, either use this template or design your own to create a graphic representation of what you've learned about creating balanced self messages. Existential depression is a really, really big issue with gifted children, and gifted individuals have a higher propensity to self-destructive behavior, up to and including suicide. And so helping to make sure that kids and adults know how to manage those self messages that they're giving to themselves, and making sure that they know when to reach out and ask for help, and when those messages are starting to be inappropriate, and how to scope those things. That's really important. And that's sometimes those are conversations that we don't want to have as parents because they're scary. Like, oh my gosh, what do you mean my child is more prone to be depressed? I thought giftedness was good. It was a present. Gifts are supposed to be great. And so just being able to help kids have the words and have a way to express them, and have safe places to really explore these different feelings and ideas and emotions. I think especially in this age range and in these grade categories, that's when they first start to realize that they're really different from their peers. Not just a little bit different from their peers, but they converge quite a bit from their age peers. And so really helping them through that process, and in the end having people who are completely intact emotionally and socially, I think is the end result. So this is by Christine Finesca, and I got this off of Amazon, and it's called I'm Not Just Gifted, Social Emotional Curriculum for Guiding Gifted Children. It has the lesson plans as well as all handouts and good information to guide you through it. I think it's great. And like I said, I also ran the book by a trained behavioral therapist who also thought it was great and could be used with kids that weren't gifted. So it doesn't just have to be for gifted kids as well. So I hope this helps. This is Dr. J, and I'm out, and I promise this is the last video of the day. Bye-bye.